For this sample, you need 2 rectangles of fabric. You're going to take your 2 pieces of fabric and you're going to serge one of the long edges separately. And so I'm going to put this right side up on the serger. I'm lining up the edge with this edge that drops off. And so it's going to trim a tiny bit with the knife blade. Again, you butt it under the foot. You don't need to raise the foot, and you shouldn't raise the foot. And when I start sewing, I will grab it. And when you're done sewing, we are going to sew a tail. And usually I do the tail, this is the thread cutter here, so I sew the tail out about twice the length of the thread cutter. So when I cut it, there's still thread here. You don't want to cut too close to the needles, because if you have to rethread the needles, it's 2 needles instead of 1. And so this is what your sample looks like. Again, you're going to do 2 edges, so you need to do this one and the second one the same way. And then these are going to be woven to secure the ends. After you've serged one of the long edges on each rectangle of fabric, and you've woven the serger ends on the opposite side on both of them, you're going to take these and put them right sides together and pin them at right angles to the edge of the fabric. When you turn the sewing machine on, it will automatically start with a straight stitch. On a Janome, the stitch length will be 2.2. You want to change that to 2.4 or 2.5. It's not wrong to sew with it on 2.2, but it is a shorter stitch, and if you make a mistake, it's more work to take it out. So most of the time we sew at 2.4 or 2.5. So at the machine then, you are going to be setting your fabric in place under the presser foot, and you want to line up the edge with the 1.5 guideline on the throw plate. Many commercial patterns use a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Some patterns will use something different. So when you're sewing a plain seam like we are here, there can be variations, but because 1.5 is a common seam allowance, that's what I'm asking you to do. So you want to place your fabric so that it is far enough back so that if you put the needle down, the needle would actually go into the fabric. The machine will likely jam if you sew on just air with nothing between the presser foot and the feed dogs. And then, so I'm lining up on the 1.5, needle on the fabric, and I'm going to lower my presser foot gently, and then I'm in a position where I'm ready to begin sewing. So our take up is in the top position, our presser foot is down, and our stitch length is on the correct setting, 2.5, and I'm going to begin sewing. And I'm going to start by taking about 3 stitches. And if it's a little more, like 4 or 5, that's not a problem. And then I'm going to reverse, and this is going to lock the stitching so that it won't easily fall out. And on this machine, the reverse looks like a U-turn, and you have to hold that in order for the machine to reverse. If you just press it and let go, it will go forwards again. So, and then once you've gone back, you go the same number of stitches that you went forward. So 3 or 4 stitches is a good amount to use. And then I'm going to sew forwards. And I'm going to keep this lined up along the 1.5 guideline. And I'm going to sew until I am almost at the end of the fabric, but you don't want to go off the fabric. And now I'm going to press the reverse again and go back about 3 or 4 stitches and then forward. And then once you're finished, you raise the presser foot and then you pull this away from the machine. If it does not easily pull, you can again turn the balance wheel towards you. You want the take up to be in the highest position. And then when you snip your threads, you want to always cut your threads right close to your fabric so that it's nice and neat. And then I'm also going to snip my threads on the other end close to the fabric. There is our plain seam. When you're finished your sample, you need to press it. The first step is to press it exactly like it was sewn. And this will set the stitching and flatten it. And then you open this, and this particular one, because it was serged separately, is pressed open. And so you just run your iron along. You want to make sure it's nice and flat, no puckers. And then to finish it off, you flip it and press it from the right side. Those 3 steps are key to a quality pressing job. If you're sewing a garment, you want to do this as you work on the project. Don't wait until the very end, because you can definitely tell the difference between a garment that has been well pressed and one that has not been pressed. And so this completes the plain seam that is pressed open.